Hey you guys, it's Amy with Myths and Legends from all over the world. Today we are still in the United States and we're going to be talking about the legend of Bigfoot. Now, Bigfoot, as you can guess, is a big creature. Some people believe that he exists, some people believe that he does not exist, but he basically looks like a big ape, like a monkey, and he lives in the forest in the U.S. Now, this legend is different than other legends that come from the United States because people still believe that Bigfoot is real. And so a lot of these stories, these legends, are what people actually say that they saw. They say that they saw him in the woods. He came and tried to scare them, tried to eat them, whatever. So you can still find a lot of these stories online, okay? So go ahead and write down the listening questions. Number 1, where in Oklahoma does the story take place? Remember, Oklahoma is in the U.S. Number 2, where does the uncle go that cold winter night? What was inside? Number 3, according to the uncle, what does Bigfoot look like? What does he smell like? Yeah, you don't want to know. Number 4, did Bigfoot try to fight the uncle? Okay, listen to the story and answer the questions.
Okay, here's the vocabulary. Number 1, outhouse, an outdoor building with a toilet. My boyfriend's house in Russia doesn't have an indoor toilet, just an outhouse. Plumbing, the system of pipes, tanks, fittings, and other things required for the water supply, heating, and sanitation in a building. You need to call a professional. You can't install the plumbing by yourself. Prevent, to keep from happening, to make impossible. We close the door to prevent people from entering. Do your business, to use the toilet. Can we stop at this convenience store? I really need to do my business. Creature, an animal. The poor creature was hungry and cold. Description, a spoken or written account of a person, object, or event. Please give us a description of the robber. Stare, to look at with eyes wide open. I can't stop staring at that woman. Her hair looks like an octopus. Equally, to the same degree. The two girls were equally beautiful. Shove, to push roughly. Stop shoving me. Confirm, to establish or strengthen with new evidence or facts. His story confirmed my doubts. Grin, a very big smile. She grinned ear to ear when he proposed to her. Credence, the mental attitude that something is believable and should be accepted as fact. He gave credence to the gossip without checking if it was true or not. Insistence, continuous and persistent demands. My husband's insistence on me cleaning the house is the reason for our divorce. I would like to tell you something about where I grew up in northern Oklahoma on a farm in the 1960s and 70s. The location is somewhere in the northernmost part of Oklahoma. It was a very wooded area. My uncle, who had lived in the area all his life, told a story about how, when he was about 8 or 10 years old, he was going out to the outhouse one cold winter night. They didn't have indoor plumbing in the old house yet, and said that as he tried to open the outhouse door, there was something inside it preventing it from opening. My uncle said he was sleepy and cold and just wanted to do his business and be done with it and get back into the warm house. So he pushed his way into the outhouse with a bit of force. He was suddenly confronted by running right into a huge, stinking, hairy creature. He first told me this story before I was aware of Bigfoot, and I don't think he had ever heard of such a thing as Bigfoot. However, what he described back then, now today, seems just like the description of Bigfoot from other stories. He said he just walked face first right into this wall of stinking fur. Said it smelled like a dead pig. in the mostly dark outhouse, and not knowing what was going on, there aren't any bears around there. He looked up and saw a huge, wide-eyed monster face staring back at him. My uncle let out a terrified scream, as you naturally would being a kid in such circumstances, and said that the thing screamed back at him at the same time, seemingly equally frightened, and then it shoved him out of the way onto the ground and stepped over him, and started running away across a nearby pig pen towards the woods and the river beyond. My uncle says he just sat there on the ground screaming in fear and watching this big ape-like thing running away. He said he ran back into the house screaming about monsters and woke everyone up. My grandmother confirmed this with a grin when she was still alive, and the whole family remembered the incident well. My uncle promised this was a true story, and years later, after learning about Bigfoot, it gave the story more credence to me. My uncle died many years ago, but his wonderful story is still fresh in my mind because of the way he told it with wide eyes and an excited voice, even when he was an adult, and his absolute insistence that it was true.
Okay, now we're at the listening questions. Number 1, where in Oklahoma does the story take place? The story takes place in the northernmost part of Oklahoma in the USA. Now, I think you can guess that this is probably a very rural area. It's pretty much the countryside. Again, they're in the woods, and they even use an outhouse. Okay, number 2. Where does the uncle go that cold winter night, and what was inside? So the uncle goes to the outhouse, which is an outdoor bathroom. And of course, who is inside? Bigfoot was inside. Okay. Number 3, according to the uncle, what does Bigfoot look like and what does he smell like? The uncle says that Bigfoot was huge, means big, right? Furry, and had a monster face, whatever that means, I don't know. And this is the grossest part. He smelled like a dead pig. I think if I smelled that, I would flip out. I would just run away immediately. So, number 4, last one. Did Bigfoot try to fight the uncle? No, he was scared of the uncle and ran off when he saw him. So, this is actually quite common for Bigfoot stories. They say that he is pretty gentle and he's not aggressive. He's not going to come and try to eat you. Actually, he's quite fearful of humans, which, of course he would be, right? We would just shoot him and then take him, right? So, yeah, we call it the gentle giant. Okay, now listen to the pronunciation and I'll see you soon. Okay, last part, pronunciation. Number 1, it was a very wooded area. Yes, this is the most difficult word, wooded. So remember to make that sound, okay? It's pretty high in your throat, wooded, okay? So let's say the sentence again. It was a very wooded area. Number 2, my uncle said he was sleepy and cold. Okay, 2 parts. The first one is said, with an e sound, said. Okay, and the other part is sleepy. Make sure that E is very long. Okay, one more time. My uncle said he was sleepy and cold. Okay, number 3, my uncle let out a terrified scream. Okay, 2 parts. Let out. The T and the O kind of come together, and of course the T becomes a D sound, let out. Okay, and the other one is scream. Again, long E sound, scream. Okay, so the whole sentence, my uncle let out a terrified scream. Okay, number 4, he just sat there on the ground screaming in fear. 2 parts. The first one is the 2 words, sat there. When we say it quickly, we take out the T in sat, so it becomes sat. So if you put it together, it's sat there. Again, sat there. And the other part is screaming-gen. Again, you put these two words together so it sounds like screaming-gen, like that, screaming-gen. Okay, listen to the sentence and repeat. He just sat there on the ground screaming in fear. Okay, last one, number 5. His wonderful story is still fresh in my mind. Okay, look at this word wonderful. It is an sound. Wonderful, wonderful. And fresh and in go together. So it sounds like freshen, freshen. Okay, listen to the sentence. His wonderful story is still fresh in my mind. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the story of Bigfoot, and if you like stories like this, there are so many online. You can go and look it up. I think they would be pretty good English practice for you. And as always, come back and we have so many more stories for you to practice with. Okay, goodbye everyone.